Um, we'll we'll kind of flip between the two books, but in the new book, you talk about some of these patterns, and there were so many of them, and I didn't even know. I struggled to pick out one, and I thought, you know what, maybe we'll talk about all of them. But one of them was this idea of carefulness, um, and I could only imagine that it's biting your tongue or watching what you say or being overly self-aware or self-conscious, perhaps to the detriment, maybe. Can you define what you mean by carefulness?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm talking specifically about what I would term white progressives, folks like you and I that care deeply for social justice, that see ourselves as committed to social justice, that would never want to hurt anyone across race, who are absolutely not white nationalists and don't relate to white nationalists. And yet we all play a part, right? So a lot of my work is to have each person not exempt themselves, right? My manifestation of this socialization is different than if I was a white nationalist, but I still do have some form of it, right? None of us are outside of it. And there are just very consistent patterns. One of them is carefulness. And it's carefulness that basically has us inauthentic. Right. So we are so careful not to say the wrong thing or make a mistake that we end up being reserved. And let me give you a little story that really brought that home for me. I was talking to a friend of mine who is Black, and I was saying, I know I have all this racist ideology in my head. I have these racist stereotypes and ideas. And I thought the goal was to be really careful not to let those out, right? I was telling her that sometimes I worried that I would relax too much and then out would slip some of this awful stuff that I've internalized. And she just looked at me for a really long time and then finally said, Robin, do you think we can't tell when you're being careful?